Welcome to Virtual Day Trip to Wine Country, everybody. I'm Sam Kimball from New York Wine Events, and we've been looking forward very much to today's show. We've been getting a great response to these broadcasts over the last week or two that we've really started doing them and creating a bunch of virtual events. And we're doing almost one a day now, so thank you so much for joining. We want to let you know if you want to see any of the broadcasts or if you missed any of them, you can also go to newyorkwineevents.com and you can watch any of these Day Trip to Wine Country virtual sessions on our website at newyorkwineevents.com. So today it's our pleasure to have Raphael Vineyard and Winery with us, and specifically with Julie Vergari. And we had a special surprise guest today, which is awesome. Anthony Napa, the winemaker from Raphael, is here with us. So good afternoon, Anthony and Julie. Very excited to have you guys today. I will say just a couple of words, and then I want to hear from you all about what you're doing, what's happening at the winery, and a little bit of the history. Raphael is a family-run legacy vineyard and winery in the North Fork of Long Island in the town of Peconic, about 85 miles east of New York City. Absolutely gorgeous, Italian-inspired architecture, beautiful buildings surrounded by just endless acres of grapevines. This is the 20th year. It's their 20th anniversary of the Raphael Vineyard and Winery. And they make some award-winning wines, and Anthony Napa is a local celebrity in the winemaking world on the North Fork. For those of you who don't know, the North Fork is an area with over 50 wineries. It's a major winemaking region, beautiful agricultural area with lots of grapevines and vineyards growing. About 50 years ago, 45, 50 years ago, they started growing grapes on the North Fork. And they found that with the ocean climate, the maritime climate with the sea breeze coming over the vineyards, that they could really grow some grapes that were amazing for winemaking. So that's one of the special things about the area. And Raphael, which we're featuring today, you can learn a lot about the winery and the vineyard at raphaelwine.com. That's raphaelwine.com. And we're going to hear when Julie and Anthony get back online, we're going to hear a little bit more from them about the winery. And we will be running a Q&A for this session. So if anybody wants to raise their hand in the Zoom session and ask a question, we'll be answering any of those questions as we get to the latter half. We'll spend about 15, 20 minutes here talking about the winery and the wines and doing a virtual tasting. So with that, I'm gonna pause for a moment. Stay with us, and I will be back momentarily. I'm just gonna reach out to Julie and see if everything is okay with their internet connection at the winery there. They've got an awesome tasting of some wonderful wines and some local foods for us. So bear with me one moment. Don't go anywhere. How many acres of vines do you guys farm, and what's the size of the winery in terms of not only acreage, but the number of cases of wine that you make every year?
The winery, the vineyard is, right now, it's about 60 acres planted. So the property, there's a couple properties, but they're all contiguous. And the winery itself has a capacity for about 275 tons or so. So obviously our production is based on our yield in the vineyard. But we can do somewhere between we usually do it somewhere between 12 and 15,000 cases, but we can do up to about 18,000 cases or so before we're pretty maxed out.
Got it. And you guys are, if I'm not mistaken, that makes you an entirely estate winery where all the wine is made from the grapes grown on the property?
Yes, we do purchase some additional fruit because we don't grow enough for our production, but also that gives us some flexibility because our production varies. We can get twice the amount of crop one year to the next.
The tank room is behind me, and I was asking about the white wines you produce and how much of the white wine you produce is stainless steel fermented versus oak barrel aged.
Yeah. For the most part, all of our white wines are stainless steel fermented. We do a little bit of barrel fermented Chardonnay um, as a single varietal. I do have quite a bit of different wines that do go into barrels and get fermented. Sometimes the Semillon will go into barrel. It's usually skin fermented first, and then it goes in a barrel, and then it gets blended in with the Sauvignon Blanc. So a bunch of components might go in a barrel, and they're used as blending components for our other wines. But for the most part, aside from our barrel fermented Chardonnay, the white wines are stainless steel. Where the red wines are the opposite, where most of the reserve red wine, all the reserve red wines, and a lot of the red wine goes into barrel, but some of the estate level red wines will end up being just stainless steel, or a portion of them will be stainless steel.
That's great. And I'm showing the barrel room behind me. I've never been down there, but it looks absolutely magical down there. So if there were a calling card for Raphael, whether it's this year and the 20th anniversary or just in general, the culture, the wines, the philosophy, what is it that makes Raphael unique and special? And how do you position the work, the awesome work you do in the world of wine and in the region in terms of your brand?
Our calling card, we're all about family. And everybody needs to have a bottle of wine with dinner on their kitchen table and enjoy it with their family. Now that we're all home, we can enjoy it even more so. What's your take on it?
No, that's definitely true about the Petrocellis. Very family oriented, and they're used to having a lot of people around, having a big.
Um, well, let's move on to hearing about these four wines that we have today. I know we were going to do them in a particular order, so let's start with the Sauvignon Blanc. And this is the 20th anniversary version of the Sauvignon Blanc from Raphael Winery and Vineyard. And if you guys would tell us a little bit about the wine and also what foods does it pair with? Well, I'll walk through what these four wines are. By the way, Raphael, like many wineries, is offering curbside pickup for the wines that they have. If you happen to be on Long Island, that's very easy to do. But they also have on their website a way to buy these wonderful wines, especially this 20th anniversary selections. This is the Sauv Blanc, which is an estate selection. That means that it's made from grapes that are right there at the winery. It's an estate wine. And then the next wine in the group of four is the Chardot. And I'm hoping that we get Anthony and Julie back in terms of audio and video because they can speak much more to the specifics of a wine like this Chardot than I can. The third wine in the 20th anniversary collection that we're talking about and featuring today is the Pinot Grigio.
All right.
Welcome back, guys. I was just actually starting to talk through what the four wines are, but we can talk about tasting notes and pairing.
Okay.
And for just to complete the circle for everyone, the fourth one is the Pinot Noir, the rosé of Pinot Noir. So
Sure.
let's start with if we've got you guys back with audio and video, let's start with the Sauv Blanc, the 20th anniversary collection here.
Okay, so we decided to go with a fun pairing as far as what we're tasting the wine with today, and basically everything that we have here on our little cutting board here is things you're going to find in your pantry. So we're starting with some popcorn, microwave popcorn, and we're zesting a little bit of we're zesting some lemon zest into the so butter, lemon into the popcorn. Can't go wrong, and that's what we're pairing with the Sauvignon Blanc. Anthony, you could discuss the wine.
Sure. I mean, Sauvignon Blanc is one of our most well-grown grapes on Long Island, something that Long Island's very much well known for. We have such a unique flavor profile of Sauvignon Blanc. It's not it's quite grassy as New Zealand, but it's not as fruit forward as Sancerre. We have a very unique flavor, and so our Sauvignon Blancs 2019 was a pretty ripe year, so we had some real nice ripeness, but we always try to strive to get some of those like green flavors in there. So we're trying to do, we're stuck in quarantine just like the rest of you, so we're doing some non-traditional food pairings today, and some nice buttered popcorn with the saltiness and some lemon zest on your popcorn.
Really good.
Goes great with the fresh acidity of Sauvignon Blanc.
Really nice balance.
You know what, Anthony? I'm going to try that tonight. I've got a bottle of the 20th anniversary Sauv Blanc here, and I love it. I've never done popcorn with wine, and I've never done popcorn with lemon zest with wine, so that's awesome. Thank you for that. That's a great one. I mean, I've got microwave popcorn. We're going to crank it up and put the lemon zest on it tonight.
I feel whatever I have in my pantry, most people will have in their pantry. So, you know, or almost, right?
Yeah, I see a new series coming, Julie, the pantry tastings.
Yeah.
Hey, it could be something you could look, you know, definitely go towards.
So the
All right.
next one I put up on the screen is the Chardot. Now, first of all, what is a Chardot? I'm assuming it's some combination of Chardonnay and Bordeaux.
Okay, so the story goes, we were on vacation, and I think I might have had a Sauvignon Blanc, and my girlfriend Lisa might have had the Chardonnay, and we're having a good time in Puerto Rico, and all of a sudden I'm out, she's out, we're kind of blending, and we blended Sauvignon Blanc and Chardonnay, and somehow, you know, Bordeaux, Chardot, that's how it kind of evolved. So now it's like Chardot, Chardot.
That's great.
So it's just a play on words. It's just kind of a fun thing, you know.
And so just to be clear for the audience, what's this is a blend?
It's a blend. It's Chardonnay and Sauvignon Blanc, and it's usually around 20% Sauvignon Blanc, but in this vintage, it's closer to 40% Sauvignon Blanc. So the Chardonnay we let to try to accentuate the richness of it, and we don't really adjust any of our wines. We don't use everything's wild fermented. We don't use any additives, so we try to use blending to bring in the roundness and the richness, and to bring the chemistry in line for the wine. So with this wine, the Chardonnay brings some nice mouthfeel, some richness to it, and the Sauvignon Blanc brings the acidity and some lemon, lime, grapefruit, some of that brighter fruit, where the Chardonnay has more of the riper fruit, the stone fruit, and the pear and the mouthfeel. So the two grape varieties definitely go well together and make a beautiful, richer wine.
That's great. And this is stainless steel fermented only, no barrel.
Yes, correct.
And then if you don't have popcorn, what else would you pair with the Chardot?
Well, today,
We did the popcorn with the Sauvignon Blanc. What would you pair with this one specifically?
So we have a pear.
a pear with a pear.
A pear. And we have some cheese that we found, that a provolone cheese.
Yeah, we have a Riccio, which is one of the best provolones for sure.
Yep.
And some cheese. Cheese and lactic flavors go so well with Chardonnay anyway. And then some bright fruit of the pear, or any fruit would work if you don't have pear, but some nice bright fruit always brings out flavors in wine. So
No, that's great. That's awesome. All right, so moving right along. And by the way, question on the Chardot, both of those, is the juice in that selection all from the estate?
No, the Sauvignon Blanc is from the estate, and the Chardonnay is from our vineyard consultant manager, Steve Mudd. It's from his vineyard.
Got it. Awesome. All right, so let's move on to the Pinot
during
Grigio.
harvest, our guys go pick the Chardonnay, right? Our guys actually go pick the fruit, and then they bring it back and we process it here. So you know, it's just at a different. It's not a state.
But it's also in the same terroir. It's in the same region. So
right. Yep.
That's great. All right, so I've got the Pinot Grigio up on the screen now, 20th anniversary version.
So you want to open?
Oh, sure. You want to pour them?
Yeah. And I we can talk about them.
Sure.
I'll take a little.
Oh, well, so with the Pinot Grigio, something really interesting that we actually grafted some of our Merlot rootstock because we have an awful lot of Merlot. So about 5 years ago? About 5 years ago, we had grafters come out from California, and we grafted the Merlot rootstock, and we have Pinot Grigio clippings, and basically like they're from the cordon from bud to bud, and they attach it to the plants, do some voodoo magic, and 2 years later, we had a full crop of Pinot Grigio. So this is our third? Yeah, third. Our third vintage of our Pinot Grigio, and it's just so good. It's because we figured we're Italian, we need to have some Italian varietals in here, you know.
And I don't know of a lot of in the North Fork and on the Long Island AVA. Is there much Pinot Grigio grown?
No, not really. I mean, the Pinot family, it's difficult to grow because, you know, Pinot tends to rot. We have a lot of humidity here, and we potentially can have a lot of rain in September, so that makes it difficult. But the benefit of it is, the Pinot Grigio is the first grape to ripen. So we do pick it extremely early, and we can make a beautiful wine out of it. And one thing I do, I really like the savory richness of Pinot Grigio. Pinot Grigio can be such a beautiful wine, and a lot of the cheaper, super sweet Pinot Grigios in the market don't do the grape variety justice. But so we try to make it in a richer style. A portion of it is skin fermented. So we take the cleanest fruit, and even if there's some rot starting to crop up out there, some botrytis, we will pick the grapes and we can make a beautiful wine out of it. But we try to accentuate the mouthfeel a little bit with this wine.
And again, what's the ideal food pairing for the Pinot Grigio?
Well, we have something that everyone has in their pantry is a can of sardines, because I know that every single person has a can of sardines. And
Anthony, how old are those sardines?
Yeah, exactly.
I think they were gifted to me a year or so ago. Another really interesting thing about the Pinot Grigio that I've become to learn about is the skin's actually a little pink. So the wine sometimes has a little bit of a rosy gold hue to it. So it's really a beautiful color. Like when you have all the wines lined up, you can really see different colors. It's a really pretty color. So we are actually putting a sardine on a piece of bread.
If we were
this might be my first sardine I've ever had, so I don't know.
Really? This will be interesting.
But they're saying that like fruit, seafood, Italian, like scungili or something like that goes really well with Pinot Grigio. So I figured
if we were in Liguria right now, we would definitely be eating these sardines and a wine similar to
Here we go. Here we go.
That would be lunch, Anthony, in Liguria. That's a picnic right there.
Wow.
I love it.
Really good.
That's really good.
Was that really your first sardine, Julie?
Yeah. Unless I had it mixed in something I didn't know, you know.
It's got just nice saltiness and oiliness, and you know, some of the best Pinot Grigios out there do have like some real nice oiliness and mouthfeel to them. So seafood's always a good pairing for white wine, regardless.
Yeah. Well, this is the hardest part of these virtual tastings for me, is that I'm watching you and I'm going, man, that looks good.
Well, that's why we'll be able to enjoy something tonight.
And by the way, as I was mentioning when you guys were offline for a second, all of these wines you can get at raphaelwine.com. Should we move on to the rosé of Pinot Noir? There it is.
And we are just pairing that with a simple strawberry.
Love it. Love it. Now,
Which-
the rosé is going to be a little bit slightly, just ever so slightly lower in alcohol content. Is that right?
This vintage is 12.1%. Most of our grapes end up being similar to that. In the past few years, 2017, 2018, we've actually picked a bunch of wines in the 10 to 11% range. So
Really?
like I said, we don't add anything to our wines. We don't acidify, we don't add sugar, we don't add alcohol. So we try to accentuate the flavor of the vintage. We try to have a real transparent flavor profile and show what Long Island wines really can do. And there is some vintage variation with that.
That's great.
So, but one of the strengths of Long Island wines is that we do have moderate alcohol, and you can open the second bottle and not worry about it.
Really quickly, in terms of these wines, one of the questions that I always have is, how do you maintain the level, the quality on a consistent basis year after year? Because obviously the nature part of the equation changes. Every year has different weather. But a winery like Raphael is producing consistently good wines year after year. What's the secret? What's the magic there?
I think, like from what I can tell, I'm more in the front of the house and running the tasting room. But what I can understand is that we need to make a decision if the particular vintage isn't up to par. We need to say, no, we got to do something else. You know, so we can't pretend to make this wine that it's not.
So you essentially you pivot. The fruit you get, you make
Yeah.
you make the
probably
wines
take further than that.
Well, we have a number of tiers of products. So we have a number of tiers of quality, and only in the best years we make our reserve level wines, and in other years the wines can get
We can still hear you, Anthony.
maybe you'll be back.
Um,
Sorry, we're on a phone, that's why.
no worries. The phone's all over. That'll happen.
So we have a number of tiers of quality, and the reserve wines will get downgraded if we can't make in our climate, in our location on the North Fork, we can't make a reserve Cabernet Sauvignon except for maybe 2 out of 10 years, or same on the other extreme would be a reserve Pinot Noir. But we always can make a state level Merlot or Cab Franc, or now we're going to do quite a bit of Malbec. So so that's part of it, is having tiers of quality where we can pivot. And it's easier with red wine because we have 2 or 3 vintages of red wine in the house at any given time. We can blend, and the other part of it is blending. We can use we can use different grape varieties and different components within the cellar, and through blending we can achieve the correct chemistry in the wine, the correct balance, and that allows us to have consistency. Other wineries do it with additives or products. I mean, but we don't do that. Everything, we don't add anything to any of our wines, but we do keep everything separate, and we keep it separate throughout the process, and that gives us lots of options and blending components. So even if it is 100% Sauv Blanc, it still could be a blend of a bunch of different tanks.
Right.
So
that's great to know. We were actually, you guys were off for a minute when we were talking about sort of what's the unique character and the calling card of Raphael. So if you would, Anthony, tell us again about that, because I think that's something that our viewers and our audience loves to hear. Like, how is Raphael different and unique compared to other wineries in the wine world?
Yeah, I mean, I think Raphael, along with most of Long Island wines, are unique because of we have such a unique terroir, and we have, in that, the unique terroir allows us to make what we're doing is based on what's given to us. So just like the Finger Lakes didn't choose Riesling to be their calling card, Riesling chose the Finger Lakes. So the wines that we make here are wines that chose us, and we just want to accentuate those. We don't use, like I said at Raphael, we don't use additives. So we use blending, and we use timing, and we use a real focused approach on the wines to be able to do that. But what Long Island does have, what its biggest strength is that we can make balanced wines without manipulation, with moderate alcohol and bright flavors, ripe flavors, and they're very unique in the wine world flavor-wise. But we do have the exact right chemistry, so we always pick the wines based on the chemistry here. We pick the wines based on the acidity and the flavors, so we don't have to adjust the wines. And if we do need to adjust the wines in a small way, we'll do it through blending, and we'll do it through the different components that we have. We'll reuse products in our own winery. We'll reuse the skins, for example, from one grape variety. We'll reuse the lees. We'll reuse different. We'll take Sauvignon Blanc, for example, and we'll keep the heavy press separate, fermented separate. We'll keep different components separate. In the heavy press, the pH might be 4, way out of balance, but then we'll use it as a blending component to control the flavor of a bigger amount of wine. So all those things allow us to have a consistency and a unique product.
That's so cool. So we have a question. We have a couple of questions coming in, and thank you for walking us through these 4 wines. Kathy asks, how long is the Pinot Noir on the skins for this rosé?
The Pinot Noir is not on the skins at all, so it's picked and pressed. But we do.
So how does this particular rosé get its color if there's no skin contact?
Well, we press it hard. So with a lot of grapes, with all of our grapes, we press everything pretty hard and we keep it separate. So that gives us some options down the road. So we do press it hard. Curbside pickup. And then we do press it hard, and we do get some color. But actually, in this wine, we do have some Pinot Noir planted here, and it's only a couple years old. We've only had 2 crops on it, and it's planted on its own roots. So we took cuttings from a neighboring vineyard, and we nurseryed it ourselves and planted it old school. So it's on its own roots. It's its own thing. And we've made Pinot twice, and in this vintage, we made it like a red wine, but some of it wasn't quite up to par, like I was saying before, and so we blended it back into the rosé. So we did get some more richness and kind of full red wine and a little bit extra color out of that, but it was a small percentage.
Awesome. If anybody else has questions, you can put them in the chat or put them in the Q&A module while we're live here. Hey, Julie, I'm going to ask you to come forward again and give us the quick Cliff Notes history, the origin of the name Raphael, because we kind of missed that on the first go round. And when we do the edited video in post-production, we'll get this in with full sound and video.
Okay, so as an Italian-American family, we made wine in our house for many years. And October would be crazy at our house, and there'd be fruit fly. I mean, it was just insane. So one year my mom's like, you got to get it out of the house. And the next few months or so, my dad bought the farm. And he's very good friends with Buddy Kohler and Bill Tyree, who are part of Osprey Dominion. And they grew up together kind of in the trenches, you know, starting their families and building their businesses. So he had camaraderie with them as well. And the name Raphael, you know, my grandfather passed away probably like 86 or so. And he wanted to have something for my grandfather to, like, his name to live on, I guess, and something to have our family, you know, definitely have roots here, you know, in the future, you know. And my grandmother is Winifred, and his wife, and I feel them here all the time. It's like weird, you know, like they're happy looking down on us, like that pitchfork, the farmer with the pitchfork, you know, and the old folks, like that's them looking down on us, you know what I mean? So my dad's 89, my mom's 87, still kind of working. They're actually staying home now. But we had to really say, Mom and Dad, you got to stay home, because they like to go to work every couple of days a week. Then they have a construction business, hence our beautiful facility. The family built it for us. So,
well, who would have thought
you know,
that
it's all good.
the wine party in the Petrocelli household in October turned into, look at this barrel room behind me, and look at this incredible facility and beautiful winery and vineyard. So I want to thank you guys so much for doing this today. And thank you, Julie and Anthony, for your patience.
Technical difficulties.
No, technical difficulties are part of live television. But it's great to do this, and let's do it again, and let's do a meal and pair a couple of wines with a meal.
That would be so much fun. We would totally do that.
Definitely.
Absolutely. Yeah. 100%. We'll plan that for the summer.
Well, thank you so much again, and thank
you,
everybody who tuned in and watched. You will be able to watch these broadcasts in video on demand.
Don't forget.
And Julie wants to introduce a friend.
Wilson 15 discounts. RaphaelWine.com. Put in my buddy Wilson. He's been here with me, hanging out in the tasting room every day. So I'm not alone. But Wilson 15 is the discount code for 15% off. Our wines are 30% off, so it's another 15. So go get some anniversary wines. It's delicious.
Awesome.
We'll ship you.
And we'll ship.
Wilson 15. Yeah. What's the shipping deal, guys?
Local shipment is 15. And we try to do like a minimum of 6. That would be great. And we do have some UPS prices that pop up, you know. Awesome. But the wines are definitely discounted online already. Plus, you put the code in, you get another 15% off. So
yeah, the wines are 45% off, but you pay for the shipping. So that way, the local people don't have to pay for the faraway people's shipping.
But we do. I can do anytime I'm here, you know, for any time. I just had somebody just came in to pick up wine, so I'm here. If I'm here, I'll sell.
We saw that. We saw you go to the curb.
All right. Peace, everybody.
Anthony took over well. All right, guys. Thanks so much. Have a great day. We'll see you soon. Thank you.
Yes, we ship to Jersey. Okay.
Bye-bye now.